Hello, everybody. Welcome to 3 Point Perspective, the podcast about illustration, how to do it, how to make a living at it, and how to make an impact in the world with your art. I'm Jake Parker.
I'm Lee White.
And I'm Samantha Cotterill, and let's jump into it.
All right, Lee, I'm going to let you take it away. You want to introduce what we're talking about today?
I just want to tell you guys about a little experience I had this past week. So I went to this store, and the store was totally, like I walk in, there's a layer of dust on the door. I mean, just a thick caked in layer. I walk in and the products that were in there still had dates on them, like 2022, like calendars from 2022. Things were sort of disarray, and there was stuff on the floor, and it was just a horrible experience. Would you ever want to shop at a place like that?
No.
Let me tell you where this place was. This place was
I will make an exception for a place like that. Like if it's an old bookstore,
antique store. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. This was not that. This was supposed to be new stuff, shiny stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But this was my website.
Oh man. Oh man.
That was my tricky lead, and I thought about that while I was walking.
I liked it.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, tell us about your website.
The past 2 weeks, I've been I don't know why I started doing it, but I dove in to my web. Oh, I think I just had to add in. Somebody had emailed me or messaged me on Instagram about a print. They're like, "Is this print available?" And I'm like, "Of course it is," and it wasn't at all yet. And so I had to go into my website, which is I use Squarespace as my host, and I went in there and I was like, "What is this place?" I haven't really stepped foot in it in 2 years. You know what I mean? Occasionally I'll throw something in there. And when I say that, it's the most minimal thing. Like one image, I finish an image, I throw it into the store. The description is boy on bike.
Mm-hmm.
It's really enticing, description. And then I'll add a price to it or whatever. And then I just let it sit there. And so after I had updated this product for this person and got that taken care of, I was like, what am I doing? I was like, I just had the analogy. If this was a brick and mortar store, and I mean, like at the end of the day, like I worked retail jobs when I was, real in high school or whatever. And, at the end of the day, you have to vacuum. You polish the counters, you put the stuff back where it's supposed to be. And I was like, if I use this as an analogy, this website is a disaster. This is exactly what I told you. A store that you walk in that has not been touched for years. And I just got to thinking about like, okay, I need to overhaul this thing. And how do I do it? And what do I do? Like, how do I do it? And so I just wanted to talk about it because I think in the past couple of years, 10 years, let's say decade, social media has taken over, and a lot of people's websites, I know Will's is like this. I haven't been to yours in a little while, but it becomes an image repository. Like you're just throwing stuff, you're making stuff, you're just throwing it in there. And I thought to myself, man, if this is my own little store, why am I treating it like this?
Yeah.
And so I started down the path of rebuilding and rebranding my website. And I just wanted to sort of share that because maybe some other people have this problem or they don't know what to do with their website. And I sort of wanted to walk through some of the things that I am doing to change mine and to keep it current. And I mean, if anything, even if you're not doing anything with it, if you're not selling a commerce store or something like that, again, this is your little piece of the world that you control. We've talked about it before. Jake's talked about it a lot. Like if Instagram gets bought and sold, all of a sudden Instagram could be totally different. Your account could get deleted or, whatever the case, or Instagram goes away. But your website is your little world. So I wanted to walk through how I'm going about it and sort of the thinking behind it and see if maybe it helps somebody else out there maybe get to another level using their website as a guide. But before I get into that, my process, do you guys update your website regularly? What does your website do for you and why do you have it? And how do you update it?
Okay. I really love for me, I put a lot of value on it. Mainly because I'm not using any social media platforms aside from YouTube. I mean, I'm here, but I'm not on Instagram or Facebook or doing any of that. So I do rely on my website as a vehicle for sharing my work with other people. But I use it as, I think of any reader that gets my book, on the back, when you're reading the bio, it always says, for more, visit Samantha at samanthacotterill.com. So that's kind of my permanent, almost like what you would call a kidlit postcard 24/7. It's not that I need it to be updated with new images constantly. I just want you to go to it and right away you feel, okay, this is a successful picture book artist. I want you to come at it knowing right away that I make picture books,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not a lot of guesswork. There's not a lot of work on your part to try to discover and figure out who I am, because I know that you have a second or two to lose interest. And so I just try to catch your attention. And I'm not posting all the time at all. And I'll update the awards when on the About Me page. I do go in and update that just to be up to date, because and it's even good reference for me when people are asking about a book and they can see what awards it's received, just the crucial information. And it's
Yeah.
how I approach illustration. I just put the things that are important, the most important things, the most necessary things, and I just fine tune it to the bare bones of necessity and simplicity and design. And I feel it's a really important part of your work as an artist, even if it's not something that you're updating frequently. I do think it's important to have.
Right. Right. Well, if I had an extra week, maybe I could add all my awards to my site. I don't have that much time. There's too many. Which awards do I pick?
We could just pause for a second and let you do it and then get back.
Okay, I tell you this, I'm done with the awards. I just did it all right there in that 1 second.
Yeah. None.
So for those of you guys who are listening and not watching, we do have this on YouTube, and I'm sharing Samantha's website. She nailed it in my opinion, because my question to you guys, when you're thinking about how to refresh your website or to build a website or have a new website, is the first question I have is, what do you want it to do for you? Who's going to be the viewer, and what do you want them to take away? And I think she just nailed it, because she's like, I want you to think I'm a picture book illustrator. And on her main page, first thing you get there's not anything to click. It's just books, and they're organized in this beautiful way. There's a nice drop shadow behind them. They look like physical books on the image, and then on the page, and then you click one of them, it gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, about 10 images, a little book trailer. And if I click on the image of the book within that, after I've clicked in, to one specific book, if I click it again, it goes to the publisher page or an Amazon page. Really smart, very, very smart. And this is good.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's great.
And she's got a portfolio. So picture books are the first page. And so I think, like I said, she said, I want to think I'm a picture book illustrator, and here's some picture books. The next little link she has is a portfolio site or portfolio page. And this one, probably 20, I'm going to say 20 images. I'm just guessing at the number there, but something around there, maybe a little more. But they're super, super consistent. In other words, if you hire Sam, you know exactly what you're going to get. Right? There's no question.
Yeah, I hope so. And I do have to update that because my work is getting more graphic, and I am going to add as I go, because I am varied in my style. I don't want to be just known for 3D, but it's just a work in progress as you grow and as you change. But the basic bones are there, and I don't want to overwhelm. I feel that if you give too much information, you can overwhelm someone. And then a lot of people enjoy the resources. So if there are any resources that I have created to go with certain books, a lot of librarians and teachers have just a quick ability, and parents and caregivers, to just quickly access. And that's been really helpful too. That's also been a great resource for.
Well, the best part about your website, in my opinion, is if a publisher was thinking about hiring you or somebody else, and they're like, all right, we got these two people, let's go check out their work a little more. If they go here, I just can't imagine a publisher thinking, oh man, she doesn't know what she's doing. Like, everything is geared towards this. You know what I mean? The resources, the books. So I feel like it gives you a certain amount of industry cred. Wouldn't you say, Jake?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just like sucked into it because uh, it's having me rethink what's my whole website. What am I doing with
Well,
my
that's where
website?
we're going. So Samantha's is SamanthaCotterill.com. If anybody wants to go there and check out sort of what we're talking about here. Let's go to Jake Parker. What's your website, Jake?
MrJakeParker.com, because JakeParker.com was taken.
Yeah, so is Lee White. .com, unfortunately.
So why is your browser okay? There we go. I was like, why are those images coming up so big?
Yeah, I was just zoomed in.
Yeah.
Is that freaking you out for a second? Like,
Yeah, I
oh
was like,
God,
what
is this? I
is-
was really zoomed in.
How my website do that?
All right, so if we go to Jake's website, he's got VizDev. He's got. Jake is a one man machine of art, and he makes all kinds of stuff. And is that the take? What's the one takeaway if you want somebody to come to your site? What should they know, or what do you want them
Okay,
to think?
so my site has changed purposes over the years, and the site in its current form is designed to get concept artwork,
Mhm.
which that was something I was doing last year, and I've shifted gears this year because I'm going more into publishing stuff, and so I should probably rearrange some of these things. So right now it's very much concept art heavy. So you
Yeah.
come to it, you see a bunch of images that could pass for illustration, but could also pass for concept art.
Yeah,
But then
but
immediately
VizDev is at the
things,
top in terms of links.
right? Immediately the things you see on the links is all VizDev, like visual development stuff that I've done for projects, whether they're freelance projects that I've done or my own projects as well.
Mhm.
And my whole point is just to show that kind of like when you hire Jake Parker, you get the full package. You can get someone who will do character design, someone who'll do vehicles, some environments, some
I
color.
want a cut paper diorama. Can I hire Jake Parker?
No, can't do that. But essentially, you'll get that Jake's a world builder. He'll help you build your world.
Yeah, there's no doubt
know?
about that.
Yeah.
And I might not be the best character designer. I might not be the best environment designer or vehicle designer, but if you need a good generalist, I'm your man.
You just paraphrased it so well. Just world builder. I mean,
Yeah.
when you said those two words,
Yeah,
that's it.
That's right.
You're a world builder. And
Well, and the thing that if you go to any of my social media profiles, the little thing that I write on the top there under my name is building a universe one drawing at a time. And that's essentially that just dawned on me maybe 10 years ago. Like that's what I'm doing is everything that I'm drawing relates to something else that I've drawn, and each one of them is a component in a
Yeah.
larger, they're each a thread in this tapestry of this that I'm creating with my art.
So,
now my question, oh, go ahead, Lee.
No, go ahead, Sam.
My question to you, I mean, this is all overwhelming because there's so much good stuff. And do you feel that you might potentially be at a place where you are almost putting too much stuff on your
That was
website?
my
Like there's
question too.
so much to look at
Yeah.
that I almost wonder if it serves you to really, as hard as it is, to I'm just such a person that edits down, as Lee knows with everything. I'm always like, simplify, simplify, simplify. But just even going on your left toolbar, whatever menu, there's so many things to, it's almost so much that
Yeah.
you wonder, oh my gosh, that's cool too. Wow.
Well, let me ask you this: what should I take off?
I would take off this stuff.
I don't
doesn't
know.
see-
The cards are cool.
The cards are cool, but they're a commercial property that Jafar already exists. You didn't come up with Jafar, Kronk, or unless you're looking to do licensed stuff.
So you're in the game section,
Yeah.
right? Should I just take out the game section?
Unless you want to do, I mean, I guess that's my question is what do you want to do? I mean, because the one thing that I have learned over the years is what I show is what I will get.
Yep. It's always going to be that way. You'll show 10 paintings and you'll put a drawing sketch that you didn't even like doing. And that's going to be the one that they'll
Yeah.
say, hey, can you do a whole book out of that? You're like, oh,
It's wild. I
really?
mean, look at David Hone did like one Christian book, and then he did a bunch of Christian books. Then he did like one biography. Then he did a bunch of biographies. I did the one concept book, This Pretty Planet, and that was all people asked for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I think it
Um,
kind of echoes to what Jake was telling me earlier about workshop construction and the idea of giving people a taste. So,
Yeah.
is that something you can apply to your website where you give people a taste of the good stuff and then they can seek
Yeah.
you out for more? But
Well, actually, I made another website called jakeparkerart.com, and it literally was just, here's my illustration. Like, it had 30 illustrations on it, and it was like, here, and it was for my agent to send to publishers and say, oh, here's what Jake does well, is these particular illustrations. So I think, and that was at a time where I wanted to do more illustration work, like children's books or whatnot. And so that website did the trick for that, but then I drifted away from that type of stuff. So I didn't renew that website.
mhm.
It's in the archive. You know, I use Squarespace for all these. So, you know, if I want to revive that website and pay the fee or whatever, it can, you know, I can turn it back on. So I think for me right now, this website is essentially like the Jake Parker Museum. You
Well,
know?
that's what I was saying. Is a lot of websites have become sort of repositories for just all the
Yeah.
stuff.
So, and I don't mind having it just be all that stuff, because essentially my income right now is it's three things. It's publishing work, and my agent is the face of that. Like, she just goes around and gets me publishing jobs.
Mhm.
And it's more about networking and connections than it is, and more about like publishing numbers and what project I want to work on than it is what's on my website. Because
Hmm.
everybody she talks to is like, I've been doing this for so long, they're kind of like familiar. But
Yeah.
you know, and if they're not familiar, she'll just be like, okay, check out these 5 books that Jake's done, or check out this or that, right? So that's one arm of it. The other arm is, for income, is teaching at SVSLEARN. So I'll run a workshop, and
Mhm.
that doesn't, essentially, the students want to know that they're being taught by someone who knows what they're doing. So they come to my website and they see, oh, Jake knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And 3, uh, income from like self-publishing or selling prints, or basically income from fans, right? And again, those people, or who are fans of Jake Parker, want to see everything Jake's done, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, this is a website that's perfect for that. And I don't want to say this is what everybody should do, because I think the
Well, you're at a
website
different
Sam
stage of
has
your
is perfect
career.
for Sam, and I think the website Lee has is perfect for Lee.
Yeah.
Well, not really. I'm changing mine, but but that's what I want to know. Like, you know, do you think that you should cull some? I mean, you have literally. I mean, I wouldn't doubt if there's more than 200-300 images here.
No, go to Inktober. Click on the Inktober. You didn't
Oh,
even check
Lordy.
that.
I think it's like, so I
And
think
then
for
click on
me,
any year.
wow. Okay.
Oh
I'm
my
going.
gosh. I mean, this is it is amazing. I just like Sam though, I do think that coming to this website, if I was thinking about hiring you, I would have no question that you know what you're doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It would not be debatable. So it does accomplish a certain amount of knowledge, and it also shows me that you have started a bunch of jobs and you have completed a bunch of jobs,
Mhm.
and successfully. They published, they printed, whatever.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
so for me, if like, for example, when I go to vehicles, I mean, you're incredible with vehicles. Everybody knows you're like the GOAT with vehicles. There are so many vehicles. I mean, that's where I'm thinking of, do you need on the sketchbook, under the sketchbook? There's a lot of vehicles under that sketchbook. So I wonder, does it warrant editing that down where there's not so many, but it still gets the message across and we clearly see your talent for vehicles, but there's a lot of vehicles
Like, is
there.
it so much that you're like, okay, enough? I'm sick of looking at these.
Is this your homage to the PlayStation controller
What is that?
you see in this image?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. What's a PlayStation controller look like?
A video game controller? You don't
Yeah.
know
What do you mean?
it looks like the handheld controller, but it's a spaceship. It's awesome.
it does.
Oh, I can't remember what a
I just wondered
PlayStation
if you
controller
got the
looks
shape because
like.
it looks like that controller,
They got
or
like
like
the
the
two
Xbox
handles coming
controller,
off
like
the
my
bottom,
son
right?
uses.
Wow. Well, clearly you do
just-
not want to put video game expert on your website.
Dude,
He
it's,
does all this, but he doesn't know what a video game controller looks
it's
like.
so funny
Okay.
because I got hired by, I've been hired by video game companies a few times, and they're like, "Hey, welcome on board. We love your stuff. Let's get to work." And they're like, "Let us know what platform you have, and we'll send you a game, a copy of the game." And I was like, "I have a Wii U that my kid uses. And that's it." And they're like, "Oh, never mind."
Lordy. I mean, it is so much, and it's all really good stuff. So that's the good thing here. All right, let me hold on. Let me see if I can find my.
I mean, most people would look at this with envy because there is just so, I mean, I don't think the percentage of people that can produce the amount of drawings that you have at this stage, it's very mind blowing. I mean,
This is what happens when you draw every day for 25 years.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, it's the one
You
thing.
know?
I mean, I'm going to use this site as a guide for students because I remember I did the portfolio review at RimCAD, and that's the school here in Denver, Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. And there was a couple people that I was doing the review from, people going from junior year to senior year. And so the first question was always, well, what are you going to focus on this last year and get ready to, to enter the workforce or whatever. And some of them were like, oh, I'm going to do maybe publishing and then maybe concept design. They had like 2 character designs.
Mm.
And I remember having the same conversation when I was in college, like when I saw Kang Lee's stuff when we would present for scholarship, and he had so many notebooks that they were from the ground up to your head. And
Dang.
if you just opened up any page, it was filled with work like this, like awesome.
Yeah.
Every one of them better than the next. And I was like, oh, that's what a concept artist is.
I thought you were going to say every one of them better than yours, Jake.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. And so that's when I got the sense of what it truly means to be a concept artist. I did a little bit of that freelance, but I didn't have the capacity to keep going at this marathon sort of pace that you have managed to do quite. I don't know if it effortlessly would be the right word, but it looks like you're just banging these out without a problem all day, every day.
No, well, I'll tell you this. The goal is kind of like what you were saying last time we talked on the podcast was if you can just do 30 minutes in your sketchbook, that the ability to I guess get faster and improve over time compounds, so that you can actually sit down, your brain's ready to rock and roll, and you can finish a drawing in 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
Right.
maybe you end up doing 2 hours one day. Well, that is four sketchbook pages that you've done, and then you do that for 100 days. Now you've got 400
Mhm.
drawings, right? So it adds up pretty easily.
Yeah. I have a thought here, though. I have an idea, if you don't mind me sharing. Going through your website again, what I'm thinking, this is my thought here. Going through your sketchbook, when you go under your sketchbook, you have all these different categories, and you get to Little Bot, Missile Mouse. Those ones, to me, I feel like those should just be moved into the section under children's books where you have already the Little Bot, and then you can see some of the sketches behind the scenes. Because when you go to the sketchbook of Little Bot, then there's all these sketches for Little Bot, but then you kind of don't see the finished result in that. But then you have to do this extra work to go back and see, oh, wait, there is a children's book that this goes into. So maybe the Little Bot and the Missile Mouse sections of sketchbook can just be looped in to the children's book, because people love to see the behind the scenes, the sketches behind the project, the final work, and then in a way that then allows the sketchbook to be the extra sketchbook stuff. And then
Yeah.
it kind of makes it a little easier and simplified in its category
Yeah.
versus giving somebody the extra work of connecting the dots with the different
Mhm.
sections.
Well, I think Sam's touching on something that I wanted to switch to my website and talk about sort of the rebuild, but minimal amount of clicks. I think Sam's on board with that. I'm definitely thinking about that. Is like I want people to do the absolute minimum
Mhm.
amount of work because that's what I assume that everyone's going to do, the minimum.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
don't want them to have to like try to dig because I'm assuming they won't dig. And so there's a balance there. I mean, I do think there's a certain where's Waldo quality of going through people once you find somebody you really are digging on,
Yeah.
and you just keep getting all these little treats, you know, as you go around. But I'll transition a little bit. I mean, it's a good. The thing about Jake's is it's all really really good work. For mine, I mean, I had to actually think about this for a little bit because, like I said, mine just became a dumping ground for a bunch of images. And so I had to think about like when you go to my page, the biggest thing is I have an online store. I sell a lot of stuff. And so I wanted people to know if I just had a gallery, people might not know that this is even for sale.
Right.
So I'm going through the pains of changing the website so you know instantly from the first page that this you couldn't miss that this is for sale. It's labeled everywhere, but also people like storytelling, and so one of the updates I'm doing now is it used to look like this when you came in. It was just the images and did have add to cart and had the title and a minimal price or whatever. But I'm starting to go in and actually tell some of the stories because I do want to start transitioning back into children's books. I haven't done one in a little while and I want to do one again. So, talking about the story, talking about why I made something or whatever, people tend to really dig that. And just having a section saying, hey, this is new. I'm just, again, using an analogy for a real store. If you walk in, they say, here's our new stuff. This is the new thing we just got in or whatever. And just to try to invite people into that sort of experience. So that's one of the changes I made on the website. But the big thing is like when people do click to know that to have a couple of different images that they can go through and hold on, it's really big on my screen right now. But they can go through and see it in its location. That has been a game changer. So in other words, I take a print, I have it mocked up on the wall so people can instantly say, oh, that is what I would like to have for my kid's wall or for our living room wall or whatever. And even in the past, like I've just been doing this for about the past week and a half, 2 weeks, and have seen a higher conversion rate from people who are just looking to people who are actually buying.
Mhm.
So that's kind of interesting. And I do want to share some of these resources. So one of the ones I'm using is called Art Placer. This is really cool. It's artplacer.com. I have no relationship with these companies, by the way, so that I'm not getting any kickbacks or paid or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's got, I'll just pick this comfy. This is like a bedroom kind of scene, and I've got a couple of images that I've already uploaded that I've made this on, so I can just sort of drag and drop my image, and it actually has the actual real size of the image. So right now I have a 30 by 40, basically a 30 by 40 image in the scene, and I can move it around as any which way I want. I can
Wow.
place it wherever I want to, and then I've got the framing options. So I've got a frame and a mat. I've got a thin wooden frame, and people can really play. I can change the color of the wall.
Yeah, it's an
And
incredible site. I had used that for a little while when I was going to do an Etsy. I thought, oh, I'm going to sell prints, but I didn't.
look how cool this is. So I can change the color of the wall so you can match whatever you got at home. But the cool thing is this site in particular, it does cost a fee. I don't know how much it is. I like that kind of robin's egg blue with this yellow print. But one of the things you can do is it actually has a link up with Squarespace, and so people can do this, what I'm showing you guys. They can place any of the images on any wall, including a photo that they upload of their own wall.
Really? That's awesome.
So yeah, so it's
Yeah.
pretty neat. So that's one of the things I'm playing with, is just trying to tell people, again, what I said before, what you show is what you will typically get. So if I show prints, I will get print sales. If I show, it just works that way. One of the things I've always had a problem on my site with trying to differentiate originals versus prints. And that's a huge deal because if somebody comes for an original, it just looks the same on the website. I got to go through this whole thing. They have a deal on here, which I'm going to add to my website, that is basically a virtual gallery. And so up at the top, my little menu bar is going to say original art, and people can walk around a virtual gallery and click on images on the wall, and it will give all that information. Here's how big it is. Here's the media that I made. Because, these things are going for between $3,000 and $5,000. I need to separate it in some way.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's cool and it's not cheesy. So that's one of the things. I do want to recommend to people as you go through. So one of the other things is just culling through. So I've eliminated a bunch of work, geared it more towards publishing again and kids book stuff. But I think I can do a better job of isolating some of that stuff. There's some leftover stuff that doesn't really go, like images like this. There's no other image. It doesn't show a print on the wall. I like the style, but it's like, I don't know whether I need to separate it out because it looks weird. It's in a different media as are these two. So I'm culling through it, but I eliminated probably 15 or 20 images. I think I've got probably maybe 50 things for sale, but just like going into a store, you're not going to go into Old Navy and see the stuff from 5 years ago. So I do need to come through and cull it, I think, a little bit more and have like, here's this season's prints and group them together. And so I'm doing a bunch of images where the focus is reading. And so there's a penguin reading a book. Let me scroll up. There's this girl reading a book, sitting on a lily pad. I've got a bunch of different versions of people reading. So I'm going to have little sections that are sort of like, here's images with bikes. Here's images with people reading.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. One of the other changes too, I did a deep dive into sort of website design, and like so many sites have used the stark white that it was recommended that I try something a little softer for this market and for my work in particular. So I went with a sort of an off white, kind of a cream kind of color, I guess, for the background. I added a chat bot for fun.
I know. I see it right now. I've got this chat bot waving at me.
It's so stupid. I'm going to get rid of it. I just did it because I was like, oh, let's see what happens. But it's really amazing because it goes through. So if you enter in all your data correctly, so sizes, cost, all that stuff, and SEO information, it calls through all that stuff. And so I was just testing it out and said, okay, how much is an 11 by 14 print? And it went through and said 11 by 14s are this much, and they're signed and numbered, and gave all this detail. And so I was just trying to like stump it by asking questions about myself and my work. And it did an amazing job. And I don't think people ask those questions. Nobody has since I've had the chatbot up. So I'm going to get rid of that. My online classes, I mean, if you go up here, I've got one digital file. So I do, obviously we do a lot of teaching. So I've got this one file that you can download as a watercolor class. And then I've got when I actually first started doing the rebrand, I still had my cart up for my workshop in October. And somebody bought it. And I was like, hey, this is for a workshop last October.
Yeah, I guess you don't really look at the year because you just think, oh, upcoming October.
It's coming up. Yeah. So this is one of the pages, the online classes is something I'm going to update with the workshops that I'm working on right now that, Sam and I are running one in October. And then I have these brushes that I've done a horrible job selling. I don't promote it on any social media. I haven't done any demos with it. And so that's my next thing, is just doing a video demo on the website showing how I use the brushes, and like here's the 12 brushes that come with the experimental pack, and here's how I use them. Just an easy video to do. It'd take me a day to do it, but also all these little marketing opportunities for the website that I hadn't done up to this point. And I am, like I said earlier, I am starting to see conversions happen at a different rate. Both the people that are coming to the website. Mostly the U.S. because I only ship to the U.S. and Canada.
I
And
mean, where online? Like, how do they find your website?
that's the other thing. So I'm tying it in a little bit more to social media. In when I'm posting on Instagram, for example, I do post the images that say, "Here's the image," but then it shows the framed version, and it says, "Hey, I've got a new print. Go over to my site and check it out." I mean, I've never done. It's so dumb that
Mhm.
I've never done that before in a post. Just saying, "Hey, this is available as a signed limited edition print. Go check it out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. It's just a lot of opportunity missed. And then the other thing is, I'm using this website as a base for a set of emails that I'm sending out to. I've got a pretty good email list for publishers and art directors and stuff in the children's book industry, kid lit world. And this is where I want them to come see stuff. And so I'm sort of changing it for that experience. So I didn't just send them the email and they come to this old site. So I'm redoing the site and then I'm starting the new email campaign.
Yeah.
So just a
It's
couple
looking
little
great.
things, but
It's
I
looking
didn't
really
know if
good.
that
I
would be an
think
interesting
you
topic for us to
are
talk about.
really
But once
onto something. Oh, go on. You're
Oh,
showing.
I was just going to say, like, it's just interesting to once you start getting into it, how much
Yeah.
you can play and customize, and it's kind of like I said, it's your own little corner of the world, and it becomes kind of fun to play with that experience.
Yeah,
Right.
it's really, I mean, I just really love the work that you're putting on there. And I think it was key that you went in and edited down and took away the stuff that's no longer pertinent or what have you. Because I guess in just my head, I was just thinking of when you go to a restaurant and usually like the Cheesecake Factory or those types of restaurants where the menu is so big and there's so much to go through that it almost devalues the restaurant because there's too many
It's
options
true.
and too
It's true.
much variety. But
Did
then
you
if you
guys?
go, yeah, like, and then if you go to this bistro that has just this one little page with a few appetizers, a few options, it feels
Yeah.
more of an experience and you're kind of the fine art of dining. And I
Right.
do
Look
think
at
that that,
the line out front of In-N-Out Burger like all the time.
It's true. The best
It's all
example of that. Did you guys ever
two kinds of
watch?
burgers and one French fry.
Yeah, yeah. Did you watch Kitchen Nightmares by any chance with Gordon Ramsay?
I used
No.
to, yeah, I used to watch a few of those.
So it's the perfect example of exactly what you're saying. It's really interesting because every restaurant that was failing did exactly what you're talking about, Sam, where they had these giant menus. 20 pages deep of menus. So they're having to buy all this food and keep it fresh or whatever, or freezing it or whatever. And then nobody knew what to think of this hodgepodge menu. And so when he would come in to sort of redesign it, the first thing he did is throw out their entire menu, gave them 5 choices,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden people started liking it again. He did physically what I'm trying to do online
Yeah.
with the website.
Well, I think it does something psychologically. I do think it gives you a sense of wondering if this person's confident or if they are really good at their craft. I mean, if you're going to a restaurant that's serving burritos and pasta and all these different things, you just think, well, I don't really trust that this is going to be very good. But if I go to this one pasta place and they give me 5 things and I know, I bet this is good. I bet this is good because they are only offering me a few things. And I
Yes.
think that translates into everything. And if you are giving somebody way too much of everything, I do believe it kind of creates that same response, whether it's food or art or music. I don't really see a difference in that.
No,
So you guys
I
are, is
agree.
this the whole thing supposed to be an intervention on my website? You
Jake,
guys?
I've logged into your Squarespace and I removed 90%,
What?
and you still have
You have a
500
problem,
images.
Jake. You need help. Take down your artwork.
Well, no, but it's a good point. The first step is, what do I want people to think, and what is this experience I want them to have? And for yours, you explained it perfectly. If you're doing concept design, you almost got to show that you can do it in. Jake's going to deliver me 100 spaceships. I know it if I hire him.
Yeah, he's a world builder. So you have to show that you're a world builder. I mean,
Mhm.
there is a goal there. There is a difference there in terms of you are building a world, and we know that you can build a world. I mean, a pretty
You
epic world.
definitely can. One
So,
one thing, we just did the hot seat the other night,
oh
and
yeah.
And those are always so fun to do. We pick a person from our studio tier, which is our sort of high level interactive tier that we have at SVS Learn, and we
Mhm.
pick one student and we do a deep dive into their work and into their website and into their branding and into their direction and kind of play with it. And it's always really interesting to see students going through the changes that they're doing. And so the one thing I want to add, if you are at the student level transitioning to pro, is it would not be weird for you to change out every single image in your website every 6 months. That would not be unusual. And one of the things that we do see is a lot of people, because they spend a lot of time on a piece, they'll keep it on the website, even if it doesn't serve them now. And
Right.
so be ruthless. If you are entering the industry, I would say less is more, unless you're at the level where Jake is and it's a little bit different of a thing. Less is more, and brand the hell out of it, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
Also,
Well,
I
I
want to
know
point out.
even talking to an agent recently saying that if this particular agent had said, oftentimes I may revisit somebody's site, and if I see the same thing 6 months ago and I'm seeing it today, it makes me wonder, is there a lot of growth happening? I don't
Mm,
necessarily, I want to see growth happening. I want to see that you're not in a stagnant place, but that you are continuous in your pursuit to kind of push yourself and grow and get better. And I want to see that happening. So
mhm.
it is okay because you're showing that you're growing and you're
Yeah.
raising the bar every few months.
I want to point out too, with Lee and you, Sam, how often you guys are sending me images. Like, look at this new image I did. Look at this new illustration. Look at this new uh, working, testing out, like trying out new stuff. And it's just so inspiring and impressive to me that even at your ages and at this stage in your career, like you're just as excited about the work that you're making now as you were 30 years ago, 20
yeah,
years ago.
I think more so for me. I mean, I'm more into it now than I've ever been. It's more fun now than it's ever been.
Yeah. And I'm going through a kind of like a rebirth moment. I think
Mm,
I went, and I think it's important to stress that so that the viewers listening to that right now and hearing my 50 something year old self saying I'm just as excited now, it doesn't mean that it's just a linear growth that's just constantly like this. I am in a way producing more and I'm doing so much right now, but that was right after a quite a big dip where I was really having a hard time
mm,
finding the passion and the interest. So that is going to happen. And I think it's also recognizing that, and it is, yeah, I am I'm in that season right now where I'm like
mhm,
excited and things are happening because I am trying new things and being aware that my work is changing and I
mhm.
need to listen to that. And before I wasn't, and it goes in line with websites and updating your work and
Yeah.
knowing you are growing. And that is a kind of what's happening right now for me. There's just this rebirth right
Yeah,
now. So
but
it's
the
been fun.
growth is not without peril. I mean, Sam and I both are. I feel like I'm experiencing that too, and we're both always texting each other, and we're like, "What do you think of this one? Change this. Oh, that's better." And it's never like, "Oh, your work is perfect, and so is mine, and this is so fun."
Yeah. I
Mhm.
always want to
It's not.
crop Lee's. I want to crop every image of Lee. Everything he sends me is like a full, and I go, okay, let's crop it down to this.
Yeah,
Let's
she
crop
does.
it
She
down.
prop down to like a doorknob. Like, I like this doorknob in your image. Like, well, okay. No, but it's good, and it's. I guess my point is, it's kind of like finding your way in the dark. That's how I feel about it. Like,
Mhm.
what if I try this mark? What if I try this mark? And then exploring the Freaky Friday things has really kind of lit a fire under me, and how much fun it is to scribble and to draw freely and loosely. And I was like, I have to incorporate that into my work, and
Can,
that is now driving a lot. So
can I just say that because you said that, I recently acquired a book that I think everybody needs to own and has been a game changer for that alone is Herv Tullett's The Art of Play.
ooh,
If
I don't know
you
this one.
have not read this book, you need to get this book. And
Looking
Wait,
it,
it up right
Herv
now.
is his name?
oh, he's like the master of creating books for young that just encourages interaction with books and getting to the core of creating. it's an incredible resource. So please buy that book because it really
want a
does
friend
kind
named
of
Verb.
resonate with a lot of what we've been saying. His Press Here book to me was a game changer, where the simplicity of it, where he asks the reader to press on this yellow dot, and then when the reader turns the page, it has left a mark. It's an incredible experience, and it's even if your work is not in this realm of simplicity, it doesn't matter. The core ideology behind his work really translates, I think, into any genre that you work in. And I just think it lit something in myself in the approach I have for making books. And like I said, I think it's regardless of what your style is and how rendered you do, it doesn't matter. The theories and philosophies behind his Art of Play book are just, oh, yeah, it's an incredible.
He's got this activity book that looks, it looks like your work right here. It's awesome though. It's like this almost like postmodern sensibility.
Well, and he does these workshops throughout the world. And I remember one, he was having people, and he plays music, and people are just scribbling and making all these scribbles and circles of scribbles. And then right at the end, he just asks people to draw a line down from the scribble and says, "You've all drawn flowers." And it's just, it's just a very honed down, beautifully edited way to look at creation. And I really highly recommend it for just your own work. I mean, there you go. Just had to say it because you sparked that.
A fun little exercise with you guys. If I can find my stylus, hold on.
What are you doing?
Be edited out of the regular podcast, just for the people in YouTube. Hold on one second. Let me make a new file.
All right. If you're
You guys
watching
ready?
this on YouTube, you are this is exclusive little bit of podcasting for you.
Hold on.
We should do golf commentary. Lee is currently reaching forward. What's his next move going to
I
be?
have no idea what he's going to do here.
The crowd is silent.
The blank page.
Photoshop.
Okay, so here's my story. Sam just reminded me of it with her little description there of scribbling in play. Okay, there was a man. No, it's a horrible man.
Lee is drawing a circle. I think it's a circle.
There was a man, and he drank poison Coke.
We're talking soda, correct?
Soda, yeah, Coca-Cola. And so his ears grew out of his head.
How about Magic Coke?
Magic Coke, there you go. But ears grew out of his head. He's upset about that, so he put a bag around it. But the ears popped through again, and he became a donkey.
Oh, we are witnessing magic on YouTube right now. The crowd is going. That
Do
is
another one. Do another one.
That's
No,
an
this is
adorable
my
donkey.
one-trick donkey.
That was fun.
That blew me away just now.
That was cool.
And he became a donkey. Wow.
You guys see this on YouTube, you'll be blown away. The verbal description leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
Blown away. That's all you need to put on your website is just a video of that. And then just write enough said. And then
Enough said. Hire me. All right, what's our next topic? I think we've exhausted the website stuff, but everybody go redesign your website if it's sitting there gathering dust. Look at it, rearrange it, add some life to it. It's a fun place to play.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Can we have a question that goes right along with this?
Sure.
Okay, so this question comes from Robert. And he says, would you guys recommend marketing on social media for an artist who lives in a very rural area? Would it be worth the investment? Or should I focus on personal connections first? I've been getting out there and I've done some shows and fairs this year, but I'm wondering if or when I should look into doing some more mainstream marketing. So it's kind of a bit of a tangent of what we're doing here, like marketing yourself, putting your website out there. And the key here, I think, is um, is does location matter? Like where you live matter to your marketing efforts? That's what I want to ask you guys.
I guess it depends on what the work is that you're creating. And at first, it is hard to answer this question without knowing what the work is. So I did a little deep diving to figure out this creator. And I know that Robert said that we could share their work. And so, if I'm correct, it looks like a lot of his work is nature based. And is it color pencil, watercolor drawings of birds and animals and wildlife? And that's something where, yeah, if you have a very small local setting, I don't know how much, there's only so much of that the local community can be buying your prints. And so, and it might be in this situation, something where it would warrant submitting your work to wildlife magazines, wildlife of print, and things that would be able to get you out there, or joining kind of groups that are avid bird watchers, bird collectors, nature. I think it's just finding where you need to find your audience. Where is the audience that would be most interested in your work? And just because you throw it on general social media doesn't mean it's going to find the right people.
Yeah.
And his work is so ingrained in kind of like postcard stamp nature that there is a whole group of people that would just eat that up. And so where are they? I think, to me, it's just where is the audience that you're trying to reach?
Right.
I don't know. How do you feel about that? That's how I respond to
I'm
it.
thinking, like he says, should I focus on personal connections first? Absolutely. Like, I think that's where really it all starts. So,
Yeah.
for the example of this, let's say you do nature illustration. I would be visiting, I'd go on a road trip and visit every gallery, like in Colorado, in Utah, in Montana, all these like Jackson Hole and like Salt Lake City, and all these places that have um, nature, like really big nature gallery type places. Arizona has a strip of galleries in Scottsdale that are nature related. I would just go meet all the gallery owners and just
Yeah.
ask them what's selling. I'm an artist, and get to know them. And if they have openings, if they have shows or something like that, attend those shows. And if you live in a rural area, that might mean that you have a season where you go and do road trips and kind of visit these things. But you should not be a stranger to those people.
Right. Right. Yeah. My mom lives in Asheville, North Carolina, and she's a painter. And a lot of her work is based in with animals and nature. And so it is a very seasonal, because a lot of people come and visit Asheville. And so for her, a lot of her success has been through galleries, getting connected with galleries and represented by galleries. So yeah, I think you're spot on there with that.
What's your mom's name?
Patricia Cotterill. You can look her up. We could judge her website. I love you, Mom.
Yeah, I want to see her art.
Oh, she's got a website. Let's go.
I believe she does.
Oh, she is
Yeah, I'm gonna share it.
Good painter.
She's a good painter.
Yeah, she's a good painter. That's my mom.
It must be nice. I have no one in my family is artistic. No one can draw. No one does art in any way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my mom is just, I always tell her you're not allowed to touch picture books because everything she tries always turns to gold. And I'm like, can you please just give me something? Give me something that's my own. She does a really great job of getting a character's expression across with her. I think that's why her cows are so successful, is they just have a personality to them. And yeah, she's had some great, like HGTV designed a whole house giveaway around one of her paintings. And then she's had some paintings and TV show backgrounds. And so it is really fun to see. And she has a studio in Asheville. But a lot of the work is, and you can even see on her website, she's got work in Mountain Nest Gallery, Woolworth Walk, Grove. So a lot of her work comes from people that travel into Asheville for vacations, buying artwork. And a lot of people come to Asheville to buy artwork because they've got
Right.
such a beautiful arts district. So it is key. Personal connections is key. And if it means that you, like Jake said, you means you have to travel a bit to find that location, it might be worth your trip to.
Well, I think one of the things is the way this question is worded is interesting to me. Like, what should I focus on first? I mean, it's not like you can just all of a sudden say, okay, I'm going to focus on personal connections, and then all day you're just calling people or something, like running around. Hey, my name's blah blah. So I think those things should be happening at the same time, naturally and organically as you can
Mhm.
possibly make them. I mean, I don't see why. I mean, Sam has an approach which I respect, but I think most people are not Sam, and they need to be probably promoting something online. At least show a little process, show a little finished work or whatever. It can't hurt. A lot of the shows I'm entering right now ask you for your Instagram page and other stuff like that. But at the same time, going to conventions or group meetups or whatever with local people and galleries and stuff. I don't see why those things would be mutually exclusive, I guess is my point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's a saying that like you should have tattooed on your forehead, and that's dig the well before you get thirsty. And so a lot of times we just get so short-sighted, and we're like, all right, I finished my painting, now it's time to go find a buyer.
Got to meet somebody.
Yeah, got to go meet somebody, right? And it's like you should be working on that stuff, like we were saying, all the time, just setting aside a little bit of time each week for maintaining networking connections,
And
right?
it's essential because life can throw you a pretty big curveball every now and again, and all the stuff that you build. I don't think you should use it as a motivation to meet people in case something goes wrong. Now you got this safety net, but just being a cool person and being interested in people and keeping your work out there in different ways it can be a life changer. I was in 2013 laid off of my full-time job along with like 600 other people in one day.
Wow.
That was EDMC. Like Goldman Sachs had bought EDMC, which owned the Art Institutes, and originally the Art Institutes were okay, and then they expanded. They built like 30 or 40 schools in cities that shouldn't have animation. You can't be in St. Louis and have an animation school. There's no animation there.
Mhm.
And so, of course, it tanked and they let everybody go. Well, I had been a full-time teacher for like 6 years, and I was doing picture books at the same time. I was doing gallery work at the same time. And so once that went away, a huge portion of my base was gone immediately overnight. And so I was able to lean into these other revenue streams and markets that I had built up, again, not in a cheesy way in case of that, but in an authentic way over time. And like Jake said, it's a marathon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Well,
too, starting out your career, it really helps to live in a hot spot. You know,
Mhm.
it's just so easy to make friends and to make, uh, meet art directors, meet the right people who are hiring. If you want to get into animation, you got to either live in Canada or Los Angeles, right? Like,
You have to. I mean, it's funny that people think, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." I mean, some of the life drawing workshops in Los Angeles that you can just go to and pay $5, and the person sitting next to you is lead character designer at Disney or DreamWorks, or
Mhm.
it's unbelievable. You'll never get that experience somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. You
right,
never know who you're going to meet.
right,
I
and
almost
like,
think of it like a jail sentence. Like you got to go do your time, do 4 years in
right,
LA,
but
and
it's
then
like,
you got to leave too.
right, video games, you want to be in Washington,
Bellevue, Washington.
Seattle. Publishing, you want to be in New York or San Francisco. Um,
What about board
so
games? Speaking for my son, what about board games?
board
Board game
game,
design.
You want
is
to live on a
there?
boardwalk.
I don't know, because like board games, the rise of board games has really happened since the internet,
Yeah.
essentially.
It's a pretty incredible. So, yeah, my younger son is transferring. Going to be a junior in college, and he's transferring to RPI here, which is an amazing engineering tech school. And they have a really expanding board game design program.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, he works at a game design store, and it's a huge thing right now. And that's
Yeah.
It's amazing, the artwork that's
But
in these board games.
I think with the board games, there's conventions because it is such a scattered. Like, there's
Yeah.
people in Europe making amazing games. There's people on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and in the Midwest. So you got to go to Gen Con, PAX, Unplug, Origins, places like that. I just did really quick best board game conventions, and that's what that's what it listed. And it really is like you just go around, you meet people, you have a
Mhm.
little portfolio. Like, this is my game art that you do. You can send people a link, or I like leaving people with a little sample, and pretty soon someone's going to call out and be like, "Hey, we're looking for an artist. You want to work on our
Yeah.
board game? We're going to kickstart it in fall. We need 5 illustrations. Here's our budget." And now you're starting to build actual portfolio pieces of things that are going into production. So
Yeah. And it's one thing to also, I think, because of that, what you said, it's an important idea to recognize that it just takes one connection. It just takes one person to see something that says, I've got a project for you. You never know where that's going to come from. So you just kind of have to throw yourself out there because you never know.
Yeah.
And you never know who's watching you either and who's been kind of following you. And some people are just kind of sitting there and just
Yeah.
waiting.
I've told this story before on the podcast, but just to tell it again, the time that I did a book for Arthur Levine, he responded to an 11-year-old email. Not
You
kidding.
told this story.
11 years old. Hey, just circling back.
I've
What?
been around the sun 11 times.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
wild.
Yeah, I
Never
remember
know.
that one. That was a good one.
You never know.
Well, should we wrap it up?
Yeah,
I
I
know we
think
got
that
another
sounds good.
question, but it doesn't fit this episode. We'll save it for another time.
Yeah,
Yep. Let's do it.
sounds good.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. 3-Point Perspective is brought to you by SVSLEARN, where becoming a great illustrator starts. And your hosts today were Samantha Cotterill, Lee White, and myself, Jake Parker. We just want to give a shout out and a thank you to everyone at SVSLEARN that helps make this podcast possible. Daniel Tu, our podcast producer, Preston Smith, our team manager, Austin Shirtlift, the keeper of the community and the curriculum, show notes wrangler Lily Howell, chief operations officer Lisa Fott, and our illustrator Annalise Black. Now, go draw something.